Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. We're going to tackle something today. We're going to tackle a topic today that's going to be tough for me. It's going to be tough for me to actually tackle this particular subject matter. I'm checking a few things, and I want to make sure that everything is up and running properly. So y'all bear with me for a second. I'm making sure I get everything right here because this is something I've never. This is a area that I've never had to deal with, and it's very difficult. I know for a lot of people to actually have to deal with this particular topic that we're going to tackle today. Okay, I wanted to make sure everything is proper. We are going to talk about the loss of a child. We're going to talk about the loss of a child and how it is to deal with the loss of a child. Again, it's something that I personally have never had to deal with. I know. I'm trying to be real careful with my word because some things I don't know. I don't know. And I want to be very sensitive to the people that has had to deal with the loss of a child. And to have someone to say, I know and I understand what you're going through. Unless you walk down that path, you don't know. So my thing to you, and I'm going to play a couple of clips here of people that I pulled up a couple of videos, and I want to play them for you, of some people that has had to deal with this thing firsthand, that has had to deal with the loss of a child firsthand. Again, I can tell you that I personally have never had to deal with it, thank God, because I don't know how I would. I've heard it said that it's like, and I'm not going to put any names out there. I would not do that. But I have heard it being said it's like having your heart cut out and not using any anesthesia. And I mean, that just to have to deal with that, to have your child. It's been said that the children should bury the parents. The parents should never have to bury the children. I'm gonna play this clip, and I do have the phone. The phone lines are open. I'm on a different system, so I don't know how well it's going to work, but we can certainly try it. You can give us a call, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. I'm going to play this first clip of this young lady. She's actually explaining what it's like for her and what she had to endure in the loss of a child. Let's listen.
One of the most devastating experiences, I believe, anyone can go through is a parent losing their child. You know, we grow up with this idea that it's unnatural for the child to pass away before the parent. And parents get really traumatized when that happens quite naturally. Parents feel a sense of blame, a sense of responsibility, and a deep sense of guilt sometimes when they lose that child. It is probably one of the most traumatic things, hands down. So I'm here not to take away from that trauma, but to offer some possible insight on how we can transform that pain into something that is meaningful to us. You know, when we lose any loved one, that love that we had for them is the source of energy that can create a new meaning for us. We can take that love and refuel it into action. It is when we transform love into service and action that we truly declare that that love does not die. And this is a fact. Our love for someone, even though their form has moved on, can never really die. That love is always there for us to dip into, to access. We just need to go back to love and refocus our energies onto the love rather than the loss. The loss is immeasurable, but the love is immeasurable too. I often tell parents who are grieving over their lost children, you know, that love you had for your child doesn't go away. We need to re-access that love. While you're grieving, and it's natural to grieve, remember that that love can be celebrated. That love can be a form of powerful action. We can take that love and serve other people who are in pain. We can take that love and commemorate that love in a meaningful way so that our life is infused with meaning through this loss, so that we don't just become paralyzed by this loss, but instead transform this love that we had into a deep, meaningful action. And the most meaningful action is service. So let's refocus from the loss and what we don't have to what we did have, to what we do have. And what we do have is that sense of being loved, of being in love, of being in connection. Let's take that and let's transform it into meaningful service for the world. So if you know someone who is suffering from the loss of their child, then share this video with them, because maybe it'll help them to move out of paralysis and move out of depression into a sense of meaning and hope and gratitude and celebration of what they did have, rather than a focus of what they do not have.
Wow. It is though I understand what she's trying to say and the message that she's putting out there. A loss of a child, a connection that you have with your child, and to lose your child. I think it's tough for me, y'all. But I think that it's going to take more than a video, more than playing a video or having someone to watch a video to get them over. Though that may help. It may help in some kind of way. But when you lose a child, when an individual loses a child, there's nothing, I can't, again, I have to be honest with you, I've never experienced it, but thinking about it, just thinking about it, I have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters. Love them dearly. Love them dearly. And to have to think about one of them not being here any longer, man, that would absolutely break my heart. That would break my heart, man. I would actually, like when my grandmother passed, and some of you that know me, you know that I say it all the time. I always say it. I would have talked to God and told God to take me and leave her here, because the world would be a much better place with her here instead of me. This is my grandmother. Imagine had I lost one of my children. How do you bounce back from that? Where do you go? What do you do? You know, it's almost like you walk around the corner and you're expecting, hoping, praying that you will see them again, but they aren't there. They are not there. I can go biblical. There's a lot of scripture that actually talks about this, but I want to talk to you all right now. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna let a lot of the videos that I'm going to play. I'm not gonna be before you long. I'm gonna let a lot of the videos that I'm going to play do a lot of the talking for me. So I'm gonna go to this next video right now, and I'm going to play this one. And please pay attention to what this young man. This is a father, and he's telling the story about he lost his son. He lost his son. Take a listen to this.
I have 3 kids, 1 in heaven and 2 here. I love all my kids equally, but Gavin was something special. He was unbelievably spiritual for being 5 years old. He was the kid who stood up for the weaker kid. The morning he passed away, we woke up and he was in our bed, and his mom said, Gavin, what are you doing? Why are you sleeping in your bed? You have to sleep in your big boy bed. And he said, Mom, don't ask me. God makes my decisions for me. And he would have been an awesome man. It was a Friday. It was April 8th. I remember it was sunny. We had to go and get a birthday present for a friend of ours. My daughter, who was 15 at the time, was home. and she was going to do some housework and chores, and my youngest daughter was doing homework. We were going to take Gavin with us, and they said, you know what, just leave him here. He's having fun, he's playing, he's, doing what boys do. And so we said, okay. And we left. We weren't gone for very long. And I remember we got the present, we came back, we were right down the street, not even a half mile. And we got a call from the fire department. They said, there's been an accident and you need to come home. I couldn't get into the cul-de-sac, so I stopped the car in the middle of the road and I just ran into the house. They wouldn't let me in, but I forced my way in. And then I just saw Gavin laying on the floor, and they were working on him. My girls were on the stairs, they were crying. Well, my 15-year-old daughter, she was the one who found her brother. And she was the one who cut him down from the cords and called 911 and shielded her sister from seeing her dead brother and gave him CPR, tried to save his life. I mean, she's a hero to me. And they took him to the hospital and they kept on working on him. It was the weirdest scene because it was all this chaos and craziness and nurses and doctors and noises and beeps and then it was silent. And then the room was empty. And that was the worst day of my life. A dad's job is to protect his child, and I failed. And so I beat myself up for a long time because that's how I saw it. I just made it simple. I didn't do my job. I was pretty much non-functional. I don't remember anything a year afterwards. As a parent, you battle with guilt. You battle with grief, the depression, knowing that he's never going to come back. All those individual struggles and obstacles, which are just huge. Just getting up every day in the morning is a struggle, getting through the day. And then the anxiety of, well, there's tomorrow. I never had anxiety before. I developed a lot of social anxiety, dealing with my daughter's grief, both of them, and them grieving differently and struggling as a parent. That's hard. I think through a lot of counseling, through a lot of deep talks with friends and families and kind of grief share communities where other people have lost, I've come to realize that it's not that simple. And sometimes horrible accidents happen to good people. This is one positive thing, is that I ask my daughters constantly, am I a good dad? And they say, absolutely. And it makes me feel good. And I know, and I thank God for the 5 years that I had with my son. I thank God every night, believe me. And I know every day of that boy's life I was the best dad I could be. It just took time for me to grow out of that simplified thinking, into where I am today. I have an amazing wife. I married up. I'm way lucky. There's the grace of God that we're still married and going strong. But it wasn't easy. I think the biggest thing is communication. Losing a child and going through grief really plays a lot of tricks in your mind. It messes with you big time. And it causes resentment and anger, even to the people that are closest to you. You have to recognize that for me, my wife isn't my enemy. And what it came down to it was that I only have one person on this earth who's going through what I'm going through, and that's my wife. When I was at my very low, she was there to support me. And when she was at her very low, I was there to support her. I was fortunate to have my law enforcement family through this because they were really supportive. And I had a lot of discussions with them about my kids because they struggled a lot, especially my oldest. I sought a grief share group at a local church, and that was a game changer for me. Finding people and talking to people who have also lost, and sharing stories and sharing struggles with other people and venting, and it just is so helpful. Just to have somebody to talk to that knows, maybe not exactly what you're going through, but they have a good idea. You have this thing in your mind, I did, of, well, you got to get over this soon. You have a timeline that you got to get over. You don't have to get over it soon. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. For us, I think the positive thing is that we're matured. We have a different perspective, learning that time really does heal. After my son passed away, of course, I tried to do as much research as I could, and it was amazing the number I found of kids that died from this. The biggest thing is that the more people that know and the more people that are aware of this danger, the more lives that we can save. That's why I said this is difficult for me to do. It's not like I wake up and say, you know what, I want to do this and cry on camera and remember the horrible day that I lost my son. But I feel like I have to because I want people to know my story and I want people to share my story. And I I want others to know my story so that they can get rid of their corded blinds and make their homes safe for their children. I don't want to see anybody going through what I went through. I know that I have a lot of people, family and friends, supporting me and stuff, but I also know that those same family and friends still have corded blinds in their house. All I can do is just keep spreading my story and spreading the message about the dangers of corded blinds. Every time I talk to people, every time I share my story, I know I'm saving lives. And I lost my son. Maybe that means that somebody else, won't lose their child. Eliminate the dangers, and it's just better safe than sorry. Cords kill, kids.
Wow. Wow. That to have to come home after an outing, going to buy your present for a friend, and to come home to your child laying on the ground, laying on the floor dead. Where do you find another heart? Where do you find another heart? Because I'm gonna tell you something. That the one that you have, the one that you had, that have to take it away. That have to take it away. Because you have to feel so helpless. And that what do you do? What do you do? How do you recover from that? As a man, I'm not trying to make this a female thing, because everybody hurt. Everybody hurt. The man hurts. The woman hurts. Everybody hurts. So that has nothing to do with a male female thing. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a loss thing. You lost your child, and you sit there. You have to watch your child, see your child laid on that ground, and you can't do anything to make him get up and come to you just so you can hug him. What do you do? How do you recover? People say all the time, I know how you feel. No, I would never tell that lie. That's a lie. Because if you have never been through that, it's a lie for you even to part your lips and say, I know how you feel, because you don't. You don't. If you never lost a child, you don't know how the person that lost one of their child or children feel. You don't know. Stop that. Stop that. Stop being so insensitive as to even part your lips to tell that lie, because it's a lie. You don't know. You get to go and hug your children every day. If they don't care if they're grown adults, you get to hug them every day. But when you lose a child, you can't hug them. They're gone. You try to hold on to the memories as long as you can, but they're gone. Your child is gone. So I would never will I ever say, I know how you feel. Never will I ever say that. And you shouldn't say it either, unless you've gone through it. And even if you've gone through it, everybody feels differently. Everybody hurt differently. Everybody go through their mourning differently. Everybody grieve differently. So even if you've gone through it, don't be so insensitive to say, I know how you feel, because you don't. You know how you felt. You know how you felt, but you don't know how the other person feels. Sometimes I'm sure that sometimes people even contemplate suicide because they don't want to be here anymore without their child. Have you ever done that? Sometimes a person could even contemplate suicide. I want to go with my child. Don't say that. Please, please, please don't say that. Don't say you know how they feel, because you don't. I got one more video that I'm going to play, and then we're going to call it a day. And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching the Raheen Ashimi show. I know this is a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about. They don't like to talk about, don't like to deal with situations like this. But these are real topics. It happens. And so if you have anybody in your family, in your friend, or even a person that you don't really care too much about, if you know that they've been through a situation like this, show some compassion. Go up and give them a hug. Just give them a hug. You ain't got to say nothing. Don't say nothing, because there's no right thing to say. I'm not going to say wrong thing, but there's no right thing to say. Just give them a hug. Just give them a hug. I got one more video I'm gonna play before we get out of here. Hope you all are getting something from this.
How do you possibly deal with sudden death? It's very important that the people around you realize that you're going to be in shock for a very long time. And we need patience with each other to know that it is going to be a very long time. Grief just takes its time. There is no set formula. People used to say to me, oh, it only lasts for a year. Well, really? That wasn't my experience. And it's not helpful to say that. It's like, oh, if I go past the year, that means there's something wrong with me. But a sudden death changes everything so fast that it's very disorienting. It's like somebody blowing a hole right through your chest. And it's very important not to isolate. It's like you have to balance solitude and time with people that understand. And I would call hospice immediately. I really would, and ask for a companion. Someone to meet with you and just talk to you and listen to you. But don't stay by yourself. You need other people. But it's a real tragedy when there's a sudden death. It just changes everything. You know, the other thing is, if the death is the death of a child, so often we go on for a very long time enshrining the memory of that child. And the other children in the family feel they can never compete. They can never measure up to that dramatic exit. And so we just have to be mindful to pay attention to the living. But at the same time, you've got to have a safe place where you can go and say exactly what you're feeling. So again, it's reaching out.
Wow. Wow. What do you do? How do you deal with it? And we have quite a few comments in the feed. I apologize. I wasn't able to get to all the comments, but I do see your comments. And pray for your family, your friends, people that's going through situations like this. Please pray for them. They need your prayers. They need your prayers. This is a topic that, again, a lot of people don't like to talk about. They want to sweep it up on the rug and act as if it doesn't exist, but it does. Because there are people that are hurting. There are people that are going through situations that are really hurting because they lost their child. Be a friend. Be a friend. I'm not going to say be a Christian, be a Muslim, be a Jew, or whatever. Be a friend. Show love and compassion. They need you throughout this time. They need you. Will you be there? I pray that you will. You've been listening to the Raheen Ashimi Show. We're about to get out of here for today. I hope you got something from it. I'm not going to say enjoyed it because it was tough on me. So I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed it. I just hope you learned something. And from the stories that the people, each and every one of them told about how they have to deal with it and what it is to go through it, I hope you learned something. I hope you did. That is my prayer. You've been listening to the Raheen Ashimi Show. It is time for us to get out of here for today. I want to thank you for joining us. And more than that, thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Raheen Ashimi Show to be a part of your evening. We're about to get out of here for today, but I want you to do me two favors before we leave. One, I want you to continue to pray for us. So we'll certainly be praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug. Because you'll never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the Raheen Ashimi Show. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. Give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? I love you. I love you.